Hello and welcome. My name is Anita Posch and this is the Bitcoin & Co. podcast, where you can listen to interviews with the brightest minds in Bitcoin and get insights and background stories about Bitcoin's philosophy and technology. Hello, I hope you have a good day and thank you for listening to this episode. For more information and all the links that are mentioned in this episode, take a look at the episode description on the website or in your podcast player. There you'll also find a link to send me a voice message. Before we start, a short message from my sponsors, and please listen to it. Why? Because until there's a better solution to pay self-employed media producers like me, sponsoring is the only way to get funds to produce this podcast. And I really try hard to present only the best products and services for you. You're looking for a solution to store Bitcoin the safe and easy way? The Card Wallet is a high secure way for storing Bitcoin offline, developed by Coinfinity and the Austrian State Printing House. The Card Wallet is a professional cold storage solution made with high-quality security materials and tamper-proof features that prevent the manipulation of the card. If you want to know more or buy the Card Wallet, go to www.cardwallet.com. That's www.cardwallet.com. Hello and welcome to this new episode of the Bitcoin & Co. podcast. My guest today is Thomas Voegtlin. He's the lead developer and founder of the Electrum Wallet. We met last week at the legendary Room 77, which was one of the first businesses worldwide that accepted Bitcoin as a payment in 2011. And he was so kind to accept my interview invitation. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, Anita. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. Please, can you introduce yourself? What have you done before you started the Electrum Wallet? And how and when did you get interested in Bitcoin?
Well, I was a researcher in computer science. I was working in France at the time, and I discovered Bitcoin at the end of 2010. There was this Slashdot article about Bitcoin that raised a lot of interest because the market cap went over $1 million at the time. And so I was hooked by the paper, the white paper. I tried to read it and, I couldn't really understand it because I was so excited. I spent a few days really trying to read it, and having no sleep because, the idea of a cryptocurrency was something that I had been involved with this idea long before Bitcoin. I mean, the idea was around already years before people were talking about that. And so when I learned about Bitcoin, I realized, somebody actually found a solution to this problem. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started. And then I started to play with it and to write some little pieces of code. And after a few months, I had the basic components of a wallet.
Mm-hmm. So you just played around to learn what Bitcoin is?
Yeah, initially I just wrote a little bit of code because I wanted to learn about how Bitcoin works. And during the summer 2011, there was a website called mybitcoin.com. That was a hosted wallet, custodian wallet run by an anonymous operator that went bankrupt, or that pretended to be robbed and that have lost 50% of the bitcoins. Mm-hmm. So it created a big crash in the Bitcoin economy at the time. And it was a big disaster. And so at the time there was not so many wallets available. You had, you could use a full node, or you had, this kind of website that was not secure at all. And I thought there had to be something in the middle. So a wallet that, normal people can use, but that does not expose them to the risk of a custodial wallet.
And they also don't need to run their own full node.
That's the point, because running a full node was and still is difficult and requires a lot of resources. So a lot of users were using this website, and when it was when this website failed, actually a lot of people lost bitcoins there. So at the time I had pretty much everything it takes to write a wallet that was working a bit differently from a hosted wallet. Mm-hmm. So a light wallet, yeah.
Yeah. So you said you were interested in cryptocurrency even before Bitcoin arrived.
Yeah.
Have you also read the works of the cypherpunks and stuff, or books like economical books on the topic, or was it just
No, I read some of the posts of Wayday, mm-hmm. and some random posts on mailing list. And I was involved in a peer-to-peer project called The Circle, which was a distributed hash table. And at the time we were considering this, the usage of a DHT for a cryptocurrency.
Oh, okay.
But we didn't have a solution to the consensus problem, so mm-hmm. that never really worked.
So the consensus problem is the double spending problem?
Yeah, the decentralized consensus or the double spend. Yeah, I mean the solution that was found by Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So you were working for a research institute?
That's correct. Yes, yeah. I was working as a researcher at INRIA.
In France.
In France. Yeah.
Have you been employed there? I mean, did you just choose to be an entrepreneur then?
I was employed as a full-time researcher, and at some point, I started to write Electrum when I still had my job there, and it was taking more and more of my time because I was really focusing on that, because Bitcoin was really very exciting. It was not related to my research. My topic of research was machine learning and neural networks. So at some point I felt that I had to make a choice, and I decided to take a leave and to create a company.
Mm-hmm. But isn't Bitcoin also like an organism, like with having like networks? I mean, I think it works a little bit like an organism.
Yes, are you referring to neural networks?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes, I think my interest is fundamentally in systems that are decentralized, and neural networks are a decentralized method of computation. That's something, that's a common pattern. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what are the features or the values or the characteristics of Bitcoin that you are interested in, like in a longer perspective, in your personal view and vision?
I'm interested in the economy and in how we can change the monetary system, have to be less reliant on banks, and to have an economy that where the money supply does not depend on credit. Mm-hmm. Because I think that one of the drivers of economic cycles and this so-called boom and bust cycle is that you have with the current banking system, you have what is called in engineering terms a positive feedback loop, in the sense that if more people are taking loans, more money is created, and then the economy goes better, so to say. I mean, that's how it feels, and then people feel more confident to take more loans. So you have this self-reinforcing thing that can go either in the direction of boom or of bust. And so it's called a positive feedback, but that's not something I view as positive. It's just an engineering term to phrase this. It means that you have this retroaction, positive retroaction that drives the system out of bounds. And I think this is one of the main drivers of the 2008 crisis. So having a money system that is independent of credit would actually stabilize the economy.
Bitcoin is open source. I guess the Electrum Wallet is also
of course. It is open source. I don't think you can actually, I mean, you can because some people have done it, but it's morally wrong to create a wallet software that is not open source, especially if you're doing anonymously. I mean, of course, you can find some examples of wallets like this. I mean, there was the Samurai wallet that was released anonymously and closed source. After some people made pressure on them, they open source it. But I think the idea is that you don't want to trust the software. You want to be able to read it. So that's why it has to be open source.
So being transparent is a very important thing to prevent corruption and other stuff.
Yes, especially if you are not revealing your identity. Satoshi Nakamoto never revealed his identity, but it's okay because the source was readable. And so in my position, there is a distinction between open source, between the source that you release and whether or not you're going to release compiled binaries of your code. So I started Electrum without revealing my identity, and I was only distributing source code. And some other people started to build binaries for Windows of Electrum. And then I got scared because those people were just as anonymous as myself, but they could really harm the project if they were actually building malware. I mean, Bitcoin stealing malware in these binaries. So I thought I had to distribute those binaries myself in order to preserve the project. But making me someone who distributes binaries also means that I can no longer be anonymous. Because binaries rely not just on the source code, but on the trust that the binary actually matches the source code. Especially at that time, because we did not have deterministic builds. We do have them now on Windows, so it's a bit less critical on Windows, but we still don't have them on Mac. You know what I mean? Deterministic builds means that everybody can verify that the source code and the binary is derived from the source code.
Okay. And can you maybe explain what a binary is?
Binary is an executable file that you download on Windows or Mac.
So you can install the program or the wallet on a computer?
Yes, you do not need that on Linux because you can compile from the source. But on Windows, it's kind of difficult for users to do that. So this is why binaries are so popular.
And you said you were scared because the other people were also anonymous. Were you by that time also scared to release a wallet like this for Bitcoin? Because you didn't know back then if Bitcoin is illegal or not. Was this also a reason for being anonymous?
No, I mean, I don't think it's illegal to release a computer program. That's not, I mean, you can have some illegal activities with Bitcoin, but that would not be something illegal. No. I mean, not in Europe at least.
Yeah. But why did you choose then to be anonymous?
Oh, it was a default choice. I mean, this was not my main job. It was just a side project. I had, I didn't have any reason to reveal my identity when I started the project. So I didn't want to be famous. I just had a pseudonym and that's it. I just wanted to write a better wallet. And I decided then later that I had to reveal my name because I was also releasing binaries and those binaries involve some trust.
Understand. So you said you released the first version in 2011?
Yes, I think November, yeah.
So, and when did you become an entrepreneur then? First years?
I think it was 14. The thing is, I released Electrum and I worked on it for about a year. And then I decided to pass on the project to Amir Taki because I thought it was, I did not want to quit my job in research and I wanted to focus on my research and I thought it was taking too much of my time. So then for about 1 year, I went back to my research, try to focus on my research. And during that time, actually, I could not because Bitcoin was so addictive. So after some time, I decided to come back to Electrum and then to create a company.
Okay. And what was the business model at the beginning? Because as far as I know, in your wallet or in general in open source Bitcoin wallets, you can't earn any money because the users only pay the transaction fee for the miners.
It's not, I mean, Electrum is mainly an open source project. It doesn't really have to be a business. I created a business because it allows me to pay developers and it also allows to establish to give trust to some companies who want to have support, for example, this kind of services. But if the company wasn't there anymore, the project itself would perfectly continue to thrive.
Yeah, but you would you need something to pay your bills too, your personal.
Yes, of course. Well, I was happy to invest early in Bitcoin, so for myself it's not a problem. And for the company, we do have a business model, so we actually run. I mean, it's kind of balanced now. We have income coming from services that are built into the wallet, and this is sufficient to pay the bills and the salaries.
Okay, that's great. So the Multisig feature you told me.
Yes, we have a partnership with a company that is in the US. They are called Trusted Coin. And they provide Multisig 2 of 3 two-factor authentication. So the thing is, they have one of the private keys, and the user has 2 of them, but the user only leaves one private key on their computer. So whenever you want to pay, you co-sign with Trusted Coin, and users have to pay a few cents per transaction for that. So it's about the same order as the mining fees.
Okay, that means it's built into Electrum.
Yeah, it's an option. You don't have to use it, but if you want, it's an easy way to have a multisig wallet. If you want to do multisig yourself without using this company, you can. Then you need to have 2 devices that sign. But if you want to have an easy to use multisig, then you should go for Trusted Coin.
That's interesting. I'm going to look at that. Yeah.
When you create a wallet with Electrum, you have this choice initially on the first screen. It asks you what kind of wallet you want to create, and so you can have a standard wallet means that there is only one signature, and then you have 2-factor authenticated, or you have also another choice that is just generic multisig. And then you can choose M of N, whatever you like.
And is it true that I can have several wallets in one Electrum?
Yes,
wallet?
you can. When you install the software, it can create as many wallets as you want. Yes.
So one can be a normal wallet with
yes,
one.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. I was following your tweets. The tweets from Electrum.
Okay.
And I've seen that there are several, like we had an attack on our server or something else. Is it that servers or services that deal with money or cryptocurrencies are more often attacked than usual or normal servers?
No, I think that, currently we have a DDoS attack. It's kind of under control now. We have good mitigation measures for that. But this DDoS is motivated by a previous attack, which was a phishing attack. So the phishing worked, the phishing attack started in January, and it worked because there was a vulnerability in Electrum that allows the server to display a message to the user. This was used to display error messages. For example, when you don't pay a fee that is high enough, you would see this message coming from the server. So this capability to show a message has been misused to trick users into believing that they have to do an upgrade. And this upgrade was sending them on a fake Electrum website with a fake binary that they installed, and then their wallet was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
So in order to mitigate this, the first thing we did, of course, was to fix the vulnerability in the code, but that doesn't fix it for people who have not upgraded their software. So in order to protect the users who did not have the latest version and did not know about this, because if you know about it, then you're kind of protected. You just install the latest version. But in order to protect the users who do not know about this, we figure out a way to remotely crash the network process inside their software. And so if we crash the network process, then they can no longer be exposed to the phishing message, because the phishing message is triggered by the network. Mm-hmm. So we deployed this, and it stopped the phishing attack until the attackers decided to DDoS our servers. So this DDoS was done in order for them to be able to continue with the phishing. Mm-hmm. So they started to heavily attack this DDoS on our servers, so that our servers would not longer be able to protect users who have not upgraded. Mm-hmm. That's the motivation behind it. Mm-hmm. And currently, we have good DDoS mitigation measures. So our servers are working.
But that sounds a little stressful to me. So for you,
it has been very stressful for the last few months, because we have had reports of users whose money has been stolen because they saw this phishing message and they went to download the malware. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it is not going to happen anymore, because now we have solved this. Both the DDoS is under control, and our servers are crashing clients who are vulnerable to phishing. So I think now it's kind of solved, but it has it cost us a lot of time, and during this time we were not able to work on other things that we wanted to advance, like for example Lightning Network, this kind of things. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What are the general steps a user should do to secure his or her wallet? Or maybe from the beginning, what's the best wallet people should use? And if they use it, like your Electrum wallet on the desktop or on Android, how should they install it? Are there things you can do to be sure to have the right version, to have the original version? Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about
okay,
this?
I'm not going to claim that Electrum is the best wallet, but it is certainly the best trade-off for a lot of users. There is a trade-off between ease of use and security and privacy. If you absolutely want to have the highest security, you should run a full node. Now, it's not possible for everyone to run a full node because it's complicated. And what we are trying to achieve is to provide the highest possible security for people who do not want to run a full node. Because I also believe that the Bitcoin economy relies on people who are not always able to run a full node, but they are economically significant. So this is the kind of target. So what should people do to secure their wallet is first to understand what are the different types of wallets. And to understand where security comes from, what is their security model. Like the most important thing to understand is, when does open source protect you and why? Open source does not protect you, for example, if you are using a website wallet that uses JavaScript. Because if this website is compromised, even if the source is open, you're not going to check the source every time you connect to the wallet. So open source works because the source that you write can be reviewed and because it's easy for a user to check that the binary or the source that they download matches what others have reviewed. But if you use a website that sends you JavaScript, if this website is compromised, it can actually tailor the JavaScript to the user. And that's very difficult to spot. What else is the distinction between custodial and non-custodial? So if you want to be in charge of your money, you should not use a custodial wallet, because, or at least if you decide to use a custodial wallet, you should be aware of the guarantees that it offers you in case of if it gets hacked, because they might lose your money, and then what happens? It has been the case with exchanges, with like Bitfinex or Mangox. So you should know exactly what happens if the wallet or the exchange that you use loses your coins.
Yeah. So you should look for if a wallet has or gives you a seed.
Private key. Seed is a user-friendly way to
save your complete wallet, or to be able to restore it.
Or we call it we can call it a mnemonic seed, because seed can also be not with English words. I mean, in cryptography, seed is just a random number.
Okay.
But mnemonic seed is a user-friendly way to store your private keys, because you can actually write it on paper. And this is what I do recommend, is to write it on a piece of paper, not to store it in a computer, because the danger with the computer is not, I mean, the main danger is that you're going to lose the data. It's not even that you're going to be hacked, but you're much less likely to use a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also review it every year. Is the paper still there? And is it still in shape and readable?
That's what you should do the first time you write down your seed. You should try to restore from what you have written down. And not first write it on the computer and then on the paper, because there might be a discrepancy there.
Okay, you just write it down and not on the computer. That's the
you write it
thing.
Down on the seed, on a paper, and then you test if you're able to restore from that paper.
I understand. So you delete your wallet and import the seed into a new wallet.
That's
then you know it works.
That's a good thing to do. Yeah, because Electrum forces you to do that when you set up your wallet. But some users find this not user-friendly and patronizing, and they complain that we do that.
Okay.
So we have competitors who just don't require this.
I didn't know that, actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And also I got a tip from someone who said, always test first with a new address or a new wallet with a small amount. Sending to some...
It makes sense. Yeah.
What are the differences, because Electrum is also an Android wallet, what are the differences in security between a smartphone wallet and a desktop wallet?
There are differences. So the source code is the same. It's just a different user interface. But what is different is the distribution channel. The Android wallet is typically downloaded from the Google Play Store. So you don't only trust us, but you also have to trust Google. Mm-hmm. That's something you have to know but that's true if, not just if you use our wallet, if you use any Android phone, you kind of trust Google, unless you do not install Android on your phone. Yeah.
There are possibilities to install Android without Google, or?
There are free versions of Android.
But it's more complicated.
It's more complicated, yes. The vast majority of people use Android with their phone, so they have to be aware that they trust Google.
But it's also because of privacy. I mean, I would rather prefer to not have Google Android on my smartphone. But it's too complicated, actually, to be honest.
Well, yeah, there is a few projects that aim to create a free operating system for mobile phone, but I'm not. I do not use them myself.
So, to be honest, when I used the Electrum wallet the first time, I had to close it again because I didn't get it actually. But I think that it's very useful for experienced users or for technical users, or maybe for users who also use their own full node. How do you see that? What are the people who you want to serve with the wallet?
I write this wallet primarily for myself, meaning that I try to create a user experience that matches my own expectation and not what I believe to be the expectation of someone else. Because if you're trying to make things easy for other people, but you actually don't know what is easy for them, you can do things wrong. Electrum was certainly easier to use in the first years because there was less features. And that's also a concern because we are trying not to add too many things to the user interface and to keep things simple. But it's true that today I hear a lot of people saying that Electrum is complicated. So it's also because maybe the user base has evolved, has changed, and we have more people who want things that are easier to use than in the past. But my guideline is always to check if I find it useful for myself. Yes, because that's the best. It's also more motivating.
Yeah.
It's a free open source project.
Yeah. So you can do whatever you want, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
When I was researching for the interview, I think I saw also that you can use Electrum for online payments. If I'm a merchant and want to sell something online, I could use it.
Yes.
What would I need to do? I mean, what's the big blocks, what would I have to install?
You would need to install an Electrum daemon and probably your own full node with an Electrum server on it, unless you decide to trust someone else. Yeah, for a merchant, actually, you it's kind of okay to receive payments and to use not your own full node because we verify the payments using SPV. Mm-hmm. So it will be fine in most of the cases, actually. Mm-hmm. But if you are concerned about privacy, it's better to have your own full node. Mm-hmm. So it works with you can start Electrum with a GUI, but you can also start Electrum in a daemon mode. So if you run a daemon mode, then you can have this daemon talk to your web interface and to display payments, like pretty much like what is it called, Coinbase. Those allows merchant to receive payments. Except that here you have only Bitcoin and no fiat, so you don't receive euros on your bank account.
Okay, but that's fine. Okay.
But it supports signed payment requests using BIP70, which I believe is a very important feature. Because for the end, for the consumer, it means that the consumer is not going to receive just a Bitcoin address and an amount. They also receive a proof that the website requested this payment. So if there is a litigation, it's very good for the user to have this signed request. The request is actually saved in the wallet Electrum.
Does the merchant have to pay fees to use your Electrum service?
No, this is free software. It's not a service, actually. We could run a service that makes it easier, but currently that's not our main focus. Maybe we will do this with Lightning. Currently, no, it's not a service. It's just a piece of software that you have to run on the machine where you have your web server.
But that's a big difference actually to the traditional payment services on websites, because the merchants always have to pay something to the providers.
Yes, that's correct. But we do not. I mean, it's also more difficult to set up. Those services make your life easier, if I may say. Okay. And currently we do not provide that kind of service.
Okay, understand.
I think the main added value of those services is that they also convert the Bitcoins to fiat. This is how you gain merchant acceptance. And we definitely do not want to go that route, because having to deal with fiat means having to deal with a lot of regulations. We are not a service provider. We are more like free software project. So we provide tools. You mentioned the Lightning network before. Yes.
Are you planning to implement Lightning to your wallets?
Yes, that's what we are doing at the moment. We have a branch on the GitHub repository that is supporting Lightning, and it's not yet deployed, but we are debugging it now. It's kind of, it can send and receive. It's feature complete, although it doesn't have advanced features like AMP or split payments. It doesn't have that, but we are still working on it.
And do you plan to release it in the next month?
Well, we plan to release it 3 months ago.
Okay. And then you had some little DDoS attacks.
Yeah, this has cost us time, really. Yes.
I do believe that. In general, can you explain which programming language you use, for instance, for the Electrum Wallet? I mean, if I would be a young, aspiring person and want to be a developer, what would I need to know to be able to?
Sure, yeah, it's all written in Python.
In Python, okay.
I chose this language because I like it, and also because it has a large user community, so it's easier to get pull requests when you have a project written in Python. You get more contributors. So it's all in Python, except of course for the web. This part that is for merchants, so it has a little bit of HTML and JavaScript there.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's almost exclusively Python.
But you're not working alone on the whole project anymore.
No, so the company currently has 2 developers, myself and another developer. And the project itself has received contributions from hundreds of people. So the number of contributors listed on GitHub is well over 100.
And those people, they just do it because they like to do it. It's their...
Yeah, it's like any open source project. I mean, we receive contributions from all the time. Yes.
Yeah, it's not a very common... I think many people don't understand how this works, to give your work away for free, and but you have to live off something.
Well, people who contribute to this kind of project in general is because they like the software, they want to improve it because they see a bug or they see something that is missing. So they start with small contributions, and then it's very gratifying to see that your contribution is merged into the project. So then they are incentivized to contribute more. Yeah.
Understand. So we're coming to an end now.
Okay.
Do you maybe have any recommendations for books or videos or stuff that's so interesting that you would say someone should read that?
I do like the videos of Andreas Antonopoulos. I do not really have a recommendation for a book because I don't read any book related to Bitcoin. I mostly read mailing lists that are kind of technical. So I don't think I can recommend any book on Bitcoin. Aaron van Verdum, I think, is doing a very good work at explaining. So he's a journalist for the Bitcoin magazine. I think he's doing a very good work at explaining technical stuff in simple terms. Yes.
Yeah, great. I had both of these guys in my podcasts already.
Okay.
And they both are great, yeah. Where can our listeners follow your work or get information about the Electrum Wallet?
We publish on Twitter whenever there is a new version or whenever there is an announcement to be made. We do not do user support on Twitter. So please do not send us your problem over Twitter because that's not the appropriate channel for that. There is GitHub for that if you want to have a proper bug report.
Do you read the reviews on Google Play? Because yesterday I was scanning your Android wallet and I saw a lot of just one star.
Yeah, we do not review this regularly. Especially recently with the DDoS, we didn't have time to catch up on that. But eventually we do, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, because then you can't choose, you look at the reviews and say, okay, I trust this or not. So it's difficult.
Yeah, well, there are tricks that we do not use, like we do not have paid reviews.
Sure. That's good, actually.
Yeah.
Then thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And visit in your nice office.
Thank you.
And I hope we'll see each other again. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
That's it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show and gained some new insights. If you want to support my show, please subscribe to the podcast in your podcast player, leave a 5-star review and share it on social media. You can contact me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube, or send me a voice message via the link on the episode page. The music is called Start With Yes by Delicate Beats. Idea and production, yours truly, Anita Posch. Have a good day and goodbye.